Jasmine stands in a white bathroom. She holds a small plastic test. She's been staring at it for several minutes. Two blue lines are clearly visible on the screen. One should be there, and the other isn't. But the second one is. She is pregnant. She slowly lowers herself onto the edge of the bathtub. The plastic is cold through the thin fabric of her robe. She places the test on the white sink. Two stripes stare back at her. She should feel joy. She should run to David, hug him, laugh, and cry with happiness. That's how they do it in the movies. That's how she thought it would be for her, too. But there's no warmth inside her, no surge of joy. Instead, a cold, heavy wave crawls down her spine. It's anxiety, so quiet and deep it takes her breath away. She looks at her reflection in the mirror. Her face is pale. Her eyes are wide open. She places her hand on her still, flat stomach. There's someone there now. A small, tiny someone. The thought of it should be magical, but it's simply terrifying. She thinks about David, about his smile, which sometimes doesn't reach his eyes, about his advice, which sounds like orders, about his family, whom she met only twice. They were polite, too polite. Their gaze slid over her like a checklist and seemed to tick the wrong boxes. Everything will be all right, she whispers to her reflection. We love each other. This is our miracle. But the words ring hollow. They fade before they reach her ears, swallowed by the echoing silence of the bathroom and the cold light of the lamp. She picks up the test again. 2 lines. Fact. This is her life now. She hides the test in its box and tucks it into the farthest corner of her cosmetic bag. Not now. She can't show him now. She needs time. She needs to understand why this news feels like falling into a dark hole rather than taking off. She comes out of the bathroom. The apartment is quiet. David is working in his office. She hears the muffled tap of his keyboard. This sound usually calms her. Now it sounds like a countdown, like the ticking of a clock before something changes forever. She goes into the kitchen and pours herself a glass of water. Her hands are shaking. Water splashes onto the countertop. She wipes the puddle with her palm, then looks at her wet palm. Everything seems too sharp, too real. There's a child inside her, David's child, and all she can feel is icy fear. She doesn't know what she's afraid of. Maybe it's change. Maybe it's responsibility. Maybe it's those cold eyes of his parents. Maybe it's that David won't be what he promised. She drinks the water in one gulp, trying to wash away the lump in her throat. It doesn't work. She's pregnant. It's the most important day of her life. And she feels like she's standing on the edge of a cliff, the ground beneath her feet slowly crumbling. 2 days later, Jasmine still carries her secret inside. It's heavy as a stone. She finds herself looking at David, trying to imagine him as her father. He's reading the newspaper at breakfast. His features are so familiar, so distinct. But this morning, he seems distant. She hasn't said it yet. She's waiting for the right moment. But the moment never comes. Her phone vibrates in her pocket. It's a reminder of her first doctor's appointment. David scheduled it himself. He said he knew the perfect place. The Tranquility Clinic. Very private, very intimate. He arranged everything. She looks at him. David, about the doctor's appointment. He looks up at her and smiles. It's wide, but quick, like a camera flash. Everything's ready, darling. Tomorrow at 10. I'll take you. She nods. She wants to ask why this clinic in particular. She wants to say that maybe she should go to her old therapist first. But he's already getting up, his phone ringing. He looks at the screen. His face changes. The slight smile disappears. His gaze becomes cautious, wary. He doesn't pick up the phone right away. I need to accept this, he says. His voice is even, but there's something in it. A work call. He goes into the office and closes the door. Not just closes it, but actually closes it. The click of the lock sounds loud in the quiet apartment. Jasmine freezes with the cup in her hands. He never closes the door. Never. She moves closer, not to eavesdrop, just standing there. The hum of his voice carries through the thick wood. The words are indistinct, but the tone? It's cold, hard, not the same as the one he uses with his colleagues. Then the voice falls silent. A pause, and he speaks again. Just one phrase. She hears it clearly because he speaks loudly and clearly, as if chopping the words. It's none of your business. I'm in control. Silence. Then even quieter, almost a whisper, but still coming through the door. I said I'll figure it out. She'll go where she needs to go. Jasmine's heart skips a beat. She. It could be anyone, but the chill inside her tells her it's her. She'll go where she needs to go. To the reception? Or somewhere else? She jumps back from the door as if burned. Her feet carry her back to the kitchen. She turns on the water to drown out the pounding of her heart in her ears. A minute later, the office door opens. David comes out. His face is normal again, calm. The smile returns. "I'm sorry," he says. "These people can't do anything without me." He comes over and puts his arm around her shoulders. His touch is usually so warm. Now it feels heavy. She freezes. "What were you talking about?" She hears her own voice, quiet and treacherously even. "About the deal. Boring details. Not worth your beautiful ears." He kisses the top of her head. His lips are cold. "Forget it. Think about tomorrow. Everything will be perfect. I promise." He promises. But now his promise hangs in the air like a heavy, alien object. She watches him pour himself coffee. His movements are precise, measured. His hand doesn't shake. He just spoke to someone in a voice that made her blood run cold. And now he's drinking coffee. And she realizes she doesn't know this man. Not at all. And she's carrying his child. And tomorrow, he's taking her to some clinic she knows nothing about. The stone of anxiety inside her grows heavier. Now it has a form. It is called fear. David's car comes to a smooth stop in front of a tall white building. There's no sign, just a small brass plaque by the door. Tranquility. Nothing else. It doesn't look like a clinic. It looks like a very expensive private club. Or a fortress. David comes out and opens the door for her. "See? Perfect. No lines, no noise." He leads her to the door. She follows him, feeling the soles of her shoes softly slap against the perfectly clean sidewalk. Not a speck of dust. Not a speck of dirt. The door opens by itself. Inside, it smells not of a hospital, but of something else. A mixture of expensive wood, bleach, and silence. Yes, silence has a smell here too. Sterile, cold. The hall is huge and empty. The smooth marble floor reflects the dim light from the ceiling. No plastic chairs, no tattered magazines. Just a few modern armchairs, like art objects, and a large, empty reception desk. Not a soul. "It's so quiet in here," Jasmine says, her voice echoing under the high ceilings and fading away. "That's a plus," David smiles. He approaches the counter and presses a small silver button. "No one will disturb you. Maximum privacy." Privacy. Yes. It feels like you're under a glass bell jar. You can see everything. And every step echoes. A woman in a formal suit appears from around the corner. Not a doctor's coat. She smiles a toothless smile. "Mrs. Jasmine." "Welcome. Mr. David, would you like to be shown to the waiting area? For partners." David nods. He turns to Jasmine and kisses her cheek. "Good luck, dear. I'll be there." He points to a door off to the side. He leaves with the woman. His footsteps echo loudly, then fade away behind the heavy door. Jasmine is left alone in the huge, bright, empty hallway. She feels tiny and out of place, as if she's a random object that rolled into the wrong room. Her simple summer clothes seem too colorful here, too cheap. She looks around. No signs, no office numbers on the walls, just abstract paintings in thin frames. Everything is perfect, and this perfection makes you want to scream. The instructions on the recording read, "Office 4, first floor, to the right of the reception desk." But there is no reception desk, just an empty counter. She takes a hesitant step to the right. A long white corridor branches off in both directions. The same silence, the same cold light. She chooses a direction and moves on. Her footsteps are the only sound. She passes closed doors without signs. All the same, she stops. Room 4 must be around here somewhere. She turns to go back. And at that moment, a woman in a white medical coat appears from around the corner. It's a nurse. About 40 years old. Asian. Her face is emotionless. It's smooth and calm, like the surface of a lake. She stops right in front of Jasmine, completely blocking the narrow corridor. Jasmine tries to smile. "Excuse me, I'm looking for room 4. First appointment." The nurse doesn't answer. She looks at Jasmine. Her gaze slowly moves over her face, her hair, her figure. It's not an ordinary look. It's a comparative look, as if she has a photograph in her head, and she's comparing it to a living person. And there's not a drop of warmth or welcome in that look, just a cold, methodical inspection. Jasmine feels goosebumps run across her skin under that gaze. She tries again. "My name is Jasmine. I have an appointment at 10 o'clock this morning." The nurse finally looks up at her face. "Your name?" she asks. Her voice is flat, without intonation, like a robot. "Jasmine. Jasmine Reed." The nurse nods slowly. She leisurely takes a thin tablet out of her gown pocket. She runs her finger across it. Her face is expressionless. "Jasmine Reed," she repeats to herself. Then she looks up. We don't have that appointment today. Jasmine blinks. But that's impossible. My boyfriend wrote it down. We confirmed it over the phone yesterday. Here, I have a printout. She frantically rummages through her bag, finds a folded piece of paper, and hands it to the nurse. She doesn't even look at the paper. She looks at Jasmine. The printout means nothing. You're not in the system. The record has been canceled. The word annulled sounds especially harsh. Final. But why? Who? Maybe there's a mistake? Maybe we should check again. Jasmine's voice grows thinner. She can hear the panic in it and tries to suppress it. There's no mistake, the nurse says. Her tone doesn't change. You're not on the list. There's no one for you to see here. You need to leave the clinic. She takes a small step forward. Jasmine instinctively takes a step back. The corridor is narrow. Behind her is a blank wall. I want to talk to the administrator. Or the doctor. My boyfriend David, he set everything up. Mr. David has no right to change the schedule, the nurse snaps. Her eyes narrow. You are disrupting the clinic's operating procedures. Please leave. She says please, but it's an order. Pure and clear. Jasmine feels her vision darken with indignation and fear. She doesn't understand what's happening. She clutches the piece of paper in her hand. The paper rustles. No, she says, and her own voice sounds alien to her. I'm not going anywhere until someone with a brain talks to me. This is absurd. She tries to get around the nurse, take a step toward the corridor. This movement, one awkward movement, and the nurse reacts, quickly and sharply. She doesn't hit. She pushes, firmly, with both hands. She grabs Jasmine's shoulder, pushing her away from her, pressing her against the wall. The jolt is strong, unexpected. Jasmine lets out a short, caught breath. She presses herself against the cold wall, unable to believe it. Her shoulder burns from the rough touch. Her ears ring. Jasmine stands with her back pressed against the wall, her breathing ragged. She stares at the nurse, her eyes wide. The nurse stands before her, impenetrable and cold. Her arms are now at her sides, but her posture is still aggressive, blocking. You pushed me, Jasmine says quietly. It's not a question. It's a statement of an incredible fact. I asked you to leave the clinic, the nurse says, her voice still level. You didn't respond. You're causing problems. Leave, now. She points her hand towards the exit again. Her gesture is sharp and abrupt. In Jasmine's throat, from humiliation, from helplessness, from rage. She's pregnant. She's just been roughly pushed. In a private, better clinic. She wants to scream, but no sound comes out. Only tears well up in her eyes, and she blinks furiously to hold them back. She pushes herself away from the wall. Her legs are shaking. She's about to say something strong. But at that moment, her gaze falls a little further down the corridor, into the open space of the hall. There, in one of those modern chairs, sits a man. He watches. He has seen everything. The man sits motionless. He wears a perfectly tailored dark gray suit. He's not old, about 30. He has an athletic build, visible even under the fabric of his jacket. His black hair is neatly combed. His face has clear, masculine features. He's not Korean, like the nurse, but Asian, perhaps also Korean. He doesn't jump up. He doesn't run. He just stares. His expression is unreadable. It's not angry. It's not kind. It's focused. As if he's assessing the situation, sorting it out in his mind. He has a phone in his hand. He slowly, without taking his eyes off them, lowers it onto his knee. Jasmine freezes under this gaze. Even greater humiliation washes over her like a wave. Now there is a witness. A stranger. Who is this person? A patient? A doctor? The owner? The nurse seems to notice him too. Her back straightens even more for a moment, but she doesn't turn around. She continues to look at Jasmine, but now there seems to be something new flickering in her eyes. Not alarm, but warning. A silent warning to Jasmine not to make any more noise. But it's too late. The noise has been made. In the silence of this hall, it was louder than a scream. The man in the suit slowly rises from his chair. His movements are smooth, full of hidden strength. He walks leisurely toward them, his steps almost silent on the marble floor. He approaches and stops a step away from them. He doesn't look at the nurse. His gaze is completely on Jasmine. He studies her face, her frightened eyes, her posture, still pressed against the wall. Then he turns his head. Now he's looking at the nurse, silently, just for a second. But that second is enough. The air in the hallway thickens. The nurse lowers her eyes. Her impassive mask cracks. A barely noticeable twitch appears at the corner of her mouth. Only now does the man turn to Jasmine again. He takes a small but decisive step forward and stands between her and the nurse. He doesn't push the nurse away. He simply takes up space, and his presence, his broad back and his expensive jacket, becomes an insurmountable barrier. A barrier that now protects Jasmine. He turns sideways to her, still keeping the nurse in his field of view. He looks at Jasmine. His eyes are dark, attentive. "Do you need help?" he asks. His voice is quiet, low. He doesn't raise his voice, but in the silence of the hallway, every word rings out clearly and distinctly. They resonate like the strike of a tuning fork. This voice doesn't beg. It states a fact. Help is already here. Jasmine can't speak. She opens her mouth, but no sound comes out. She can only nod, briefly, sharply. The man nods in response, as if he's received all the necessary information. He turns completely toward the nurse. Now he's facing her. His posture is straight, his shoulders squared. "Soo-jung," he says. He knows her name. "Explain." It's not a question. It's a demand. Just one word, spoken in the same quiet tone. But it's so powerful that Jasmine's spine shivers again. But for a different reason this time. Nurse Soo-jung looks up at him. Her face tries to remain impassive again, but it doesn't work. "Mr. Chang Hyun, this girl, she doesn't have an appointment. She tried to enter without permission. I asked her to leave." Mr. Chang Hyun, that's his name. He listens without interrupting. Then he looks back at Jasmine. "Do you have confirmation of the recording?" Jasmine, still trembling, hands him a crumpled piece of paper. He takes it. He looks not at the paper, but at her. "Your name?" "Jasmine." "Jasmine Reed." "Jasmine," he repeats, as if checking the sound. "Good." He finally looks at the paper, nods. Then he turns to Soo-jung. His voice grows even quieter, but even more dangerous. "It's on the printout. It's not in your system. Where is the truth, Soo-jung? In the paper the patient brought, or in the computer you have access to?" He doesn't accuse. He simply asks a question. But the question hangs in the air, heavy as a weight. The hall is still silent. But now this silence rings, with tension, with the fear emanating from the nurse, and with the calm, absolute power emanating from the man named Chang Hyun. Soo-jung turns silently and walks toward the empty reception desk. Her steps echo with the crisp, sharp clicks of her heels. Jang Hyun watches her go, then turns to Jasmine. He makes a slight come-in gesture. He follows the nurse, and Jasmine, still in shock, follows them. Behind the counter is a small work area with a computer. Soo-jung sits down. Her movements are abrupt. She turns on the monitor and enters the password. The screen lights up. Chan Hyun stands nearby, his head slightly bowed, watching. He doesn't loom over her, but his presence fills the space. Jasmine stops 2 steps away, unsure what to do. Soo-jung opens the schedule app. She enters today's date, 10 o'clock in the morning. A list appears on the screen. Only 3 names. Reed is missing. "See?" Soo-jung says, her voice too loud in the silence. "She's gone. I told you so." Jasmine sees the list. Indeed, she's not there. But she also sees Soo-jung's hands. They're resting on the keyboard, and her fingertips are trembling slightly. It's barely noticeable, but they're trembling. Chan Hyun doesn't look at the screen. He stares at those hands, then slowly looks up at the nurse's face. "Show me the change log," he says calmly. "Who last made changes to today's schedule?" Soo-jung freezes. "Mr. Chang Hyun, this is proprietary information. Perhaps we should call the administrator?" "I'm the administrator," he replies. His tone doesn't change. "Show me the log, now." He doesn't raise his voice, but there's steel in his words. Soo-jung closes her eyes for a second. Then her fingers start tapping the keyboard again. The trembling intensifies. She opens another program. A table with dates, times, and logins appears on the screen. She scrolls through it. "Here," she says, her voice breaking. "Last update at 8 o'clock this morning. Johnson's patient status update." Jang Hyun leans closer to the screen. Jasmine freezes, holding her breath. "Scroll up," he says. 7 in the morning. 6. Soo-jung does it. The lines flash by. Mostly the nightly automated reports. And suddenly, Chan Hyun puts his finger on the screen. "Stop. Here. Line. Today's date. Time. 7:15 a.m. Action. Delete entry. Entry EAD. R_Jasmine_1000. Username. SJ_reception_1. SJ. Soo-jong. Reception_1. Reception. The silence becomes deafening. Jong Hyun slowly straightens up. He turns away from the screen. Now he looks only at Soo Jung. He doesn't say a word. He just stares. His face is a stone mask. There's no anger in his eyes. No surprise. There's an icy, absolute understanding there. And disappointment. So cold it makes your blood run cold. Soo Jung sits, staring at the screen. She sees the same line. Her own login. She no longer trembles. She seems petrified, her whole body tensed, expecting the blow. Jang Hyun is silent for a few more seconds. Those seconds feel like an eternity to Jasmine. She sees Soo Jong shrink under his gaze. The nurse tries to look up, to meet his gaze, but she can't. Her eyelids tremble. She lowers her gaze, first to the keyboard, then to her own hands, clenched into limp fists in her lap. She's lost. And he hasn't even said a word. Finally, Chan Hyun looks away from her. He turns to Jasmine. His expression softens. Just a degree, but it's enough. Jasmine, he says, please come in. There are some things we need to discuss. He doesn't look at Soo Jung anymore. He's already erased her from reality. He points Jasmine toward a wide corridor leading deeper into the clinic. He walks ahead, and Jasmine follows him. She glances over her shoulder. Soo Jung is still sitting at the computer, as if paralyzed. Her figure seems small and broken. Chang Hyun leads her past closed doors. They reach the end of the hallway. There's one door, larger than the others. It has no number, only a small sign engraved, Chang Hyun. He opens the door and lets her go first. The office is huge, but not pretentious. Large windows overlook the clinic's enclosed inner garden. Minimalist dark wood furniture. Everything is clean, functional, and expensive. It's quiet here too, but a different kind of quiet. Not a hospital, but an office. A quiet place of power. He gestures her to a chair in front of the massive desk. Sit down. You need to catch your breath. He says this not as sympathy, but as a statement of fact. Jasmine sinks into the chair. It is deep and soft. She feels the trembling she's been suppressing begin to break through. She grips the armrests tightly. Chan Hyun walks around the table and sits down opposite her. He places her printout in front of him. Do you understand what just happened? He asks. Jasmine nods, then shakes her head. My post. It was deleted. On purpose. This morning. That woman? Soo Jung, he says. Yes. She deleted your post. She did it this morning when she came in for her shift. Then she tried to kick you out when you showed up. But why? Jasmine's voice is hoarse. I don't know her. I've never seen her. Chang Hyun steeples his fingers. He looks at her carefully. That's the right question. Why? This wasn't spontaneous malice. It was a plan. Who knew about your visit here? Who was recording you? David, my boyfriend. He organized everything. He said this is the best clinic, Hyun repeats. He pronounces the name neutrally, as if committing it to memory. Did he make the arrangements personally? Talk to someone? I don't know. He said he had contacts, that everything would be confidential. Jasmine suddenly felt sick. From all of this. Do you think he… No, it can't be. Jang Hyun doesn't think out loud. He looks at her. Jasmine, your entry was deleted at 7:15. You arrived at 10 o'clock. Someone with access to your appointment passed the order on to Soo Jung, or she herself acted on someone's request. The goal was one, to prevent you from attending the appointment, to create a scene, to make you leave and never return. He says it clearly, calmly, as if he were reading a report. Every word cuts into Jasmine like a nail. But I'm just pregnant, she whispers. It's just a checkup. Obviously, for some people, it's not simple, Chan Hyun replies. He leans back in his chair. The question is who and why. And why through my clinic. He presses a button on his phone. Send a security technician to me. And find Soo Jung. She is not to leave the building. 5 minutes later, a young man wearing glasses and carrying a laptop enters the office. He nods respectfully to Chan Hyun, glances quickly at Jasmine, and settles down to the side. Chang Hyun gives him brief instructions. The technician opens his laptop, his fingers flying quickly across the keyboard. Lines of code and windows with logs flicker across the screen. The deletion was from her account, yes, the technician says a few minutes later. But I'm looking at the network activity history. At 7:05 a.m., a fast, encrypted connection was established from her workstation to an external IP address. A very short one. A minimal data packet was transferred. After that, at 7:15 a.m., the account was deleted. Can I track the address? Asks Chang Hyun. The technician shakes his head. A disposable repeater. Impossible. But there is a connection. She received a command. Or confirmation. She wasn't acting alone. Jang Hyun looks at Jasmine. So there was an external signal. Someone from the outside gave the command. And Soo Jung carried it out. Jasmine feels a lump in her throat. David, could he? He has connections. His family. We'll figure that out, says Chang Hyun. He turns back to the technician. Block all her access. Isolate her workstation. All footage from the cameras in the lobby and reception area from 7 this morning is for my review. The technician nods and quickly leaves. They are left alone. Silence fills the office again. Jasmine sits, hugging herself. She's cold, even though the office is warm. Someone knew about my visit, she says out loud, trying to process it. Someone didn't want me here. Didn't want me here at all. Why? What's wrong with this clinic? Or, what's wrong with me? She looks up at Chang Hyun. Her gaze now holds not just fear, but a burning demand for the truth. Why? You know something. You immediately understood what was going on. Why? Chang Hyun holds her gaze. He seems to be weighing how much to say. My clinic, he begins slowly, isn't just a place where people get treatment. It's a place where certain people resolve certain delicate issues. Confidentially. Very confidentially. People come here who don't want prying eyes, don't want witnesses, don't want questions. He pauses, looking at her. Your recording, your appearance, it was a stone thrown into this quiet pond. Someone felt your presence was a threat, not to you personally, but to what you might see, or to the fact that you're here at all. Perhaps someone who uses the clinic's services doesn't want you to intersect with this world. Your boyfriend, his family, are they part of that circle? Jasmine thinks of David's parents' cold eyes, of their perfect, detached world, of David's call behind closed doors. I'm in control. She nods slowly. Yes, they are like that. Very closed, very private. Then the hypothesis is simple, says Chang Hyun. You shouldn't have been allowed into this world. Your pregnancy makes you vulnerable, but also visible. You were assigned a clinic, but apparently not everyone at that clinic received the correct instructions regarding you. Or they gave you the opposite. Soo Jung got the opposite, Jasmine says quietly. Yes, she was paid or threatened to kick you out. Outrageously, harshly, so you'd be scared and never come back. Plan A, easy. Discredit the clinic in your eyes? Make you run away. What about Plan B? Jasmine asks automatically. Chang Hyun looks at her. His eyes harden. Plan B will probably be more direct. If they can't stop you here, they'll stop you from getting help elsewhere. Or they'll convince you to make different decisions about the pregnancy. Jasmine freezes. Her hands automatically fall to her stomach. A protective gesture. No, she says. It's the first firm word she's spoken since morning. No, this won't happen. Chang Hyun nods, as if he'd been expecting this exact reaction. Okay, then we need Plan C, my plan. Chang Hyun presses the intercom. Yang, come in. A moment later, a man enters the office. About 40 years old, stocky, with an impassive expression. He's wearing a dark suit, but it's clear he's used to being on the move, not stuck in an office. Yang, this is Jasmine. From now on, you are responsible for her safety and movements. You take her to all the appointments, meetings, and wherever she asks. You are her shadow. Understood? Yang looks at Jasmine, quickly and appraisingly. He nods. Understood, boss. This isn't a proposal, Jasmine, Chang Hyun says, turning to her. It's a security measure. Until we understand who gave the order and what they need, you are not to be left alone, especially in medical facilities. Yang will be on call 24 hours a day. He'll be driving. He'll make sure no one approaches you who shouldn't. Jasmine wants to object, that this is too much, that she can't accept such a bodyguard from a stranger, but the words stick in her throat. She remembers Soo Jung's push, remembers her trembling hands on the keyboard, remembers the gray chill in David's voice outside the door. She nods. Okay, she says. Thank you. Don't thank me. I can't stand it when someone else's sheep grazing in my business, especially a pregnant one. He stands up. Today's appointment is, of course, canceled, but the doctor will examine you here and now. My personal recommendation. Then Yang will take you home. Keep this phone. He hands her a plain black phone. Only for contacting me and Yang. Do not use your personal one for important conversations. She picks up the phone. It's heavy and cold. An hour later, a friendly female doctor examines her in a private room at the clinic. Everything is fine. The baby is fine. It's the only bright spot of the day. Yang drives her home in a black SUV without a word. He doesn't ask questions. He just does his job. David is already home. He rushes to her as soon as she enters. "Oh my God, Jasmine! What happened? You weren't answering your phone. I called the clinic, and they told me you'd left. I was beside myself." He hugs her. His embrace is tight, but there is no warmth in it, only tension. Jasmine carefully extricates herself. "I'm fine, David. There was an incident at the clinic." "An incident? What incident? I know everything. The administrator called me and apologized. Some crazy nurse. They've already fired her. I'm furious. I'm going to sue." His face is distorted with anger. He paces the living room. "Did the administrator call you?" Jasmine asks. "What exactly did he say? What was that hysterical woman at reception being rude to you about?" "Outrageous! For that kind of money. I won't allow you to be treated like that. We'll find another place, tomorrow. I've already looked at other options. There's a great clinic outside the city, even more private." He speaks quickly, heatedly, too heatedly, and too quickly moves on to another place. "They helped me," Jasmine says, watching him. "The owner of the clinic was there, Mr. Chang Hyun. He took care of everything. He even arranged for a checkup." David freezes. His back tenses. He turns slowly. "Chang Hyun? He intervened personally?" "Yes. He figured it out. It turns out my post was deleted on purpose." David's face becomes impassive. "On purpose? What nonsense! A system error. They're covering up to avoid a scandal." "No, David. It was intentional. Someone gave that nurse a command. Someone didn't want me in that clinic." He approaches her and takes her hands. His palms are hot. "Darling, you're in shock. You imagined it all. It was just a coincidence and the employee's rudeness. Forget it. We won't go there again. I'll arrange everything differently." "They offered me security," Jasmine says, not looking away, "and a separate phone number. From Mr. Chan." David's hands clench convulsively. "What? What security? What kind of amateurish act is this? You couldn't just agree. You don't even know him." "He prevented me from being thrown out on the street, and then he found out it was a forgery. I think I can trust him, more than some others." She hadn't planned to say it, but the words burst out. David pulls back as if he'd been struck. "What are you implying? You think this has something to do with me?" His voice trembles with indignation, but something else flickers in his eyes. A lightning-fast spark of panic. "I don't think anything," Jasmine says wearily. "I just want to understand what's going on. I'm pregnant, David, and today I was attacked. They wanted to humiliate me and throw me out. I'm scared." His anger immediately fades, replaced by feigned concern. He hugs her again. "I'm sorry. I'm sorry, darling. I'm simply furious at how they treated you. Of course you're scared, but don't worry, I'm with you. I'll protect you. Forget that Korean and his security. We can handle this on our own. Trust me." He kisses her forehead. His lips are dry. Jasmine closes her eyes. She feels no relief. She feels only a heavy, sticky fear and complete loneliness in the middle of this apartment, in his arms. Night. Jasmine lies with her eyes open. David sleeps next to her. His breathing is even and deep. She can't sleep. Fragments of the day whirl around in her head. Soo-jung's cold eyes, Jung Hyun's steely voice, David's hot anger. She gets up carefully and goes into the living room. She drinks water in the kitchen. Silence. Only the ticking of the clock. And then she hears it. A muffled voice. From the office. The door is slightly open. The light is off. But in the blue of the computer screen, she sees David's silhouette. He's sitting at the desk. He's wearing headphones with a microphone. He speaks into them, low, almost a whisper. Jasmine freezes behind the wall, her heart pounding in her throat. "Igian. Uyamairi-so." "She still goes there," she hears him whisper. He sounds irritated, tired. "Yes, Jang Hyun himself interfered. Ruined everything. No, she won't agree to another place. She's scared, but stubborn. Plan A failed. A complete failure. We need Plan B. I know I'm taking a risk, but you're taking a risk too if she finds out." We agreed. "Tomorrow. I'll prepare everything." He falls silent and listens. Then, quietly and angrily, he hisses, "I said I'll figure it out. Just give me time." Click. He dropped the call. Jasmine bounces off the wall and silently, tiptoeing back to the bedroom. She jumps into bed, pulls the covers up to her chin, and closes her eyes, desperately trying to breathe evenly. A minute later, David enters the bedroom. He stands in the doorway, looking at her. Then he lies down quietly next to her. He is not asleep. She senses his tension. He said, "Plan A failed. We need a plan B." And she knows. Plan A was the clinic, Su Jung. Shame and expulsion. Plan B is something else. Something he'll prepare tomorrow. And she lies with her eyes closed, pretending to sleep, her mind racing. She only has until tomorrow. And there's only one person who seems to understand what's going on. A man with cold eyes and a black phone in her bag. She must survive until the morning. Morning! Jasmine wakes with a feeling of icy dread. David is already awake next to her. He looks at her, and his smile seems strained. "How did you sleep, dear?" His voice is unnaturally cheerful. "Fine," she lies, turning away to the window. She remembers every word of his conversation last night. Plan B tomorrow. "I'll be late at work today," David says, standing up. "I need to take care of some urgent matters. You stay home and rest. And think about another clinic. I found a great option." He leaves, leaving her in the silence of the apartment, which now feels like a cage. She can't just sit and wait. She showers, gets dressed, and grabs her bag. Jung Hyun's driver, Young, is waiting for her at the entrance in his black SUV. She gets in. "Where?" he asks shortly. "To any cafe. To the center." She needs to be among people. In the light. Young nods and drives her to a busy area. He parks nearby and says he'll wait by the car. He doesn't impose his presence, but it's noticeable. Jasmine finds a small cafe with large windows. She orders tea and sits against the wall, trying to clear her head. She needs to decide what to do. Call Jung Hyun, but what to say? What did she overhear? It sounds paranoid, but it's not. It's fact. A girl approaches her, about 25 years old, pretty, with a friendly smile. "Excuse me, is this free?" She points to the chair opposite. Jasmine nods automatically. The girl sits down and places the coffee in front of her. "Sorry to bother you," she says, her smile widening. "I just noticed you look a little tired. Is everything okay?" Jasmine became wary. "Yes, thank you. Everything is fine." "Ah, I understand. It can be difficult sometimes, especially in a new place." The girl takes a sip of coffee. "You're not from here, are you? I couldn't get used to it at first either." "I live here," Jasmine answers dryly. "Oh, sorry. I was just thinking. You see, I work nearby at a medical center, and I often see new people. Especially, well, in your condition." Her gaze drops briefly to Jasmine's stomach, then rises again with concern. "Are you under observation? Any advice I could give you? I've heard a lot about private clinics. Tranquility, for example. Have you been there by any chance?" Ice runs down Jasmine's spine. A cafe, a random girl, a conversation about tranquility. "No," Jasmine says quickly. "I've never heard of that." "Really? How strange. It's a very famous place among a certain circle. Very private. They say the best specialists work there, but everything is strict. You can't get in without connections." The girl speaks lightly, but her eyes are intently studying Jasmine's reaction. "I have to go," Jasmine says, standing up. Her tea is almost untouched. "Of course! Sorry to bother you. Take care of yourself. And the baby." The girl waves her hand. Jasmine almost runs out of the cafe. She looks back. The girl doesn't look after her. She takes out her phone and quickly types something. Yang drives her home. The whole way, she checks the side mirror to see if there's a gray car behind them. Not yet. Entering the apartment, she sees a box on the floor by the door. It's medium-sized, wrapped in plain brown paper. There's no sender's address, just her name and address printed on a white sticker. Her heart skips a beat. She calls David. Silence. He's still at work. She carefully takes the box, carries it to the kitchen, places it on the table. She unpacks it. Inside are baby clothes, little onesies made of soft cotton, tiny hats, a couple of beautiful blankets. The quality is excellent. Everything is in neutral, pastel colors. No card, no hint as to who it's from. Her hands begin to shake. Someone knows. Someone knows about the pregnancy and is sending a gift. Is it David? His parents? To calm her down after yesterday. But then it would have been a card. This isn't like them. She takes out all the things, piling them on the table. At the bottom of the box, under the last blanket, lies one more item. It's wrapped in thin tissue paper. Jasmine unwraps it. It's a rattle. Wooden, skillfully crafted. But the shape, it's a snake. A small, stylized snake, coiled into a ring. Something rattles inside. Its head is raised, its tiny forked tongue seems to move. Jasmine recoils from the table, as if from something poisonous. She looks at the toy. It's not a gift. It's a message. Ominous. Quiet. Absolutely clear. Warning. Threat. She grabs the box, forcefully stuffs everything back in, including the rattle, and tapes it shut. Her hands are shaking feverishly. She runs out of the apartment, down to the parking lot, and tosses the box into the dumpster. Then she stands, leaning against the cold wall, trying to catch her breath. Someone is playing with her. Someone wants to scare her, and they are doing it very well. She calls Yang. He arrives 5 minutes later. Her first instinct is to ask him to take her somewhere far away. But where? She has no plan. Just drive around, she says, getting into the car. Around the city? Yang nods silently. They drive. Jasmine looks out the window but sees nothing. A skinny wooden snake appears before her eyes. 20 minutes later, she spots a car in her side mirror. A gray sedan. Inconspicuous. It was 2 turns back, and now it's still there, 2 car lengths behind. Yang, she says quietly. They're following us. A gray sedan, see? Yang takes a quick look in the mirror. His face doesn't change. I see. Buckle up. He smoothly, without any sudden movements, changes lanes, then turns onto another street. The gray sedan repeats the maneuver. Yang turns again. The gray sedan is still there. This is not imagination. They are being watched. Hyun gave her. It only remembers 1 number. She calls. He answers on the 2nd ring. Go ahead. There's a car behind me, a gray sedan. They've been following us for 10 minutes. A short pause. Did you remember the number? Jasmine looks in the mirror, peering closely. The numbers are blurry, but she can make out the last 3. 784. The rest is invisible. Enough. Where are you now? She describes the area. Listen carefully, says Chang Hyun. His voice is calm, but there's a steely grip to it. Yang knows what to do. Do not get out of the car under any circumstances, even if it seems safe. Understood? Yes. Okay. I'll keep in touch. He hangs up. Yang seems to have received some instructions over his comm. He increases speed, driving confidently, but without undue aggression, not attracting attention. He leads them toward the business district, where traffic is heavier. Jasmine presses herself into the seat, her eyes glued to the mirror. The gray sedan floats behind them like a shadow. Yang drives for another half hour. Finally, he pulls into the underground parking garage of a large shopping center. He circles around a few times, turns sharply around a pillar, and kills the engine. They sit in the darkness, listening to the sounds of other cars. The gray sedan didn't pick them up. It looks like we've fallen behind, says Yang. But it's not worth going out yet. 15 minutes later, Jasmine receives a text message from an unknown number. Go outside. Go to the park across the street. The bench is by the fountain. It's Jang Hyun. She shows the message to Yang. He frowns but nods. I'll be nearby. At a distance. They walk up to the street. The bright daylight hurts their eyes. Yang points to a small park across the street. She crosses, her heart pounding. She sees a fountain and a bench next to it. A man in dark glasses and a simple windbreaker sits on the bench. It's Jang Hyun. He looks like an ordinary person out for a break. Jasmine comes over and sits down next to him. She doesn't look at him. Your shadow has fallen behind, but you've likely already been spotted in this area, he says quietly, looking at the fountain. Soo Young has been fired. She was taken from the clinic last night. This morning, she bought a plane ticket to Seoul. The flight departed 3 hours ago. Jasmine looks at him. She ran away. She was removed from the board, he corrects. She did her job. She failed and became a threat. She was recalled. And that gift? Baby things? And this rattle? He looks at her for the first time. His eyes are hidden behind his glasses, but the corner of his mouth tightens. Describe? She describes the box and the snake. He nods slowly. Information. And a warning. They know you're pregnant. And they know you were scared at the clinic, but you didn't back down. Now they're resorting to scare tactics. Indirect ones. So you'll make the right decision yourself in a panic. What's the solution? Jasmine asks, though she's afraid to hear the answer. Leave. Terminate the pregnancy. Disappear. Something that will look like your own choice. They don't want a big scandal. They want a quiet, gentle disappearance. Just like back then. Then? When? She grasps at the word. Chang Hyun takes off his glasses. His eyes are serious. Jasmine, you need to dig deeper. You asked why. The answer may lie in the past. In the past of my clinic and your boyfriend's family. Search. But be careful. Your personal phone and computer may not be safe. He places another phone on the bench between them. It's as plain and black as the first. For calls you can't make on your own, and for searching the web, it's a disposable phone, unregistered. Use it. She picks up the phone. It's cold and light. Yang will take you home. Behave normally, but don't stay alone for too long. And remember, Plan A failed. They're preparing Plan B. You don't have much time. He stands up, puts on his glasses, and leaves without looking back, disappearing into the stream of people. Jasmine returns home. In her jacket pocket are two black phones. One is for contacting Jong Hyun and Yang. The other is a tool. David's not here yet. She locks herself in the bedroom. She grabs her second phone. It's already charged. It's bare bones, with nothing but basic functions and a browser. She starts searching. The car's number. She enters in, the search engine searched for the numbers she'd memorized, and the word registration. It was a long and tedious process, as she combed through various commercial databases until she found a website with vehicle information. She enters the full license plate, which Yang seems to be able to discern later. The gray sedan is registered to a company, a small firm with an unclear line of business, consulting and logistics. She searches for this company, finds scant information. Founders. There are two of them. One name means nothing to her. The second, she reads it carefully. She freezes. It's a name. The last name is familiar. It's the last name of David's cousin, Miles. She's seen him in family photos, a young, self-confident guy who works in the family business. The car that was following her belongs to a company connected to David's relative. This isn't just speculation anymore. This is proof. Proof that David or his family are involved in surveillance. Her hands are freezing. She puts the phone down, stands up, and goes to the window. It's getting dark outside. She thinks about Jong Hyun's hint, the past, the tranquility clinic. She picks up her phone again. She searches for news, articles, any mentions of the clinic from recent years. Most of them are promotional materials, articles about new technologies. Everything is clean, too clean. She narrows her search by adding words. Incident, investigation, death. She hesitates before entering the last word, but does so. And it finds an article from a local newspaper, dated 5 years ago. The headline is dry. Investigation completes review of incident at private clinic. Jasmine opens it and reads, holding her breath. Briefly, no details. An accident occurred at the private clinic Spokojstwie. The patient, a 28-year-old woman, died during a routine procedure. The investigation found no violations by the medical staff. Verdict: tragic accident, coincidence. Case closed. The patient's name is not listed. Neither are the doctor's names. Only the clinic's name catches the eye like a flash. Jasmine scrolls further. The article is accompanied by a photograph. An old one. A little blurry. It was taken at the entrance to the clinic. Several people in white coats are standing in a group. Apparently, they're staff. Her gaze glides over their faces, and she sees her. Younger but recognizable. Soo Young. She stands slightly to the side, her face serious. And next to her, Jasmine squints, zooming in on the image on the screen. Next to Soo Jung stands a man in a formal suit, not a robe. He's saying something, gesturing. His face, she's seen it, once, at a dinner party with David's parents. This is Mr. Elton, the family lawyer, the man who handles all the family's delicate matters. David's family lawyer is pictured standing next to Nurse Soo Jung days after the accident at the clinic. In Jasmine's head, a terrible, ugly picture. An accident 5 years ago, the Tranquility Clinic. Nurse Soo Jung is involved. Her boyfriend's family's lawyer is on site. And now she, Jasmine, pregnant with David's child, comes to the same clinic. And Soo Jung, on someone's orders, tries to throw her out. And when that fails, Jasmine is followed. It's not paranoia, it's a pattern. David's family is hiding something connected to that death. And her pregnancy, her appearance at that clinic, it's a threat. A threat to reveal everything. She feels sick with horror. She types out the article and the photo on the printer in David's office. The papers move silently. She folds them and hides them under the mattress. David returns late. He seems exhausted but collected. "How's your day?" he asks, kissing her cheek. His lips are cold. "Quiet," she lies. "I've been thinking a lot." "About what?" His voice is wary. "About the future, about the baby, about the responsibility, and about the secrets that could ruin everything." He freezes. "What secrets? What are you talking about?" Jasmine looks him straight in the eye. She takes a printed article and a photograph from under the mattress and places them on the bed between them. "About that, David. About that accident 5 years ago, at the clinic you enrolled me in, and about what your family lawyer is doing there next to the nurse who tried to kick me out. She watches his face. At first, it expresses bewilderment. Then he glances at the papers, and at that moment, all the blood drains from his face. It turns chalky white. His eyes widen. There's more than just surprise in them. It's pure animalistic terror, panic. Where did you get this? His voice was a hoarse whisper. That doesn't matter. What does, David? Who was that woman? What really happened? And why is my appearance at that clinic such a big deal for your family? He shakes his head and takes a step back. This is nonsense. An old story. An accident. No connection. Your lawyer is in the photo, David, and that same nurse. This is not a coincidence. You said last night that Plan A failed. Plan A is to kick me out of the clinic. Now it's Plan B. What is this plan, David? What are you and your family planning to do to me and my child? She screams. For the first time in a long time, she allows herself to scream. It contains all her pent-up pain, fear, and rage. David looks at her as if he's seeing her for the first time. His panic gives way to something else. Cold calculation. He slowly raises his hands, as if calming a wild animal. Jasmine, you don't understand. Everything is wrong. You've twisted everything. But he doesn't deny it. He doesn't say she's gone crazy. He's trying to calm her down, to buy herself some time. At that moment, one of the black phones buzzes in her pocket. The one from Chang Hyun. The vibration seems incredibly loud. David hears. His gaze falls on the pocket of her jeans. What is this? Who's calling? Jasmine ignores him. She retreats to the window and takes out her phone. An unknown number appears on the screen. She accepts the call. Jasmine. Jang Hyun's voice was quiet, but incredibly intense. You need to disappear. Now. Don't take anything. Leave the apartment and go down to the garage. Now. Yang will be waiting at the service exit. You have 3 minutes. He hangs up. Jasmine looks up. David stands in the middle of the room, pale, his fists clenched. He sees her face. He sees the solution. Jasmine, don't do anything stupid! His voice becomes sharp and commanding. But she can't hear anymore. She turns and runs to the door. Jasmine runs out of the apartment. Behind her, she hears David's shout. He calls her, orders her to stop. She doesn't look back. She presses the elevator button. The elevator moves too slowly. She hears the apartment door swing open. She runs to the stairs and flies down them, holding onto the railing. Her heart is pounding, echoing in her temples. She bursts into the underground garage. The air smells of concrete and gasoline. To the left, by the service entrance, the headlights of a black SUV flash. Yang opens the back door. She jumps inside. The door slams. The car takes off and drives out the back door, past the main entrance. Jasmine turns around. She sees David rush out the front door and look around. His figure quickly diminishes and disappears from view. She leans back in her seat, shaking. She has nothing. No bag, no documents. Just 2 black phones in her pocket and light clothes. Where are we going? Her voice breaks. To a safe place, Yang answers curtly. Far from the city. They drive for over an hour. The cityscape gives way to suburbs, then forests and fields. They turn off the main road onto a narrow paved road. Then they turn onto a gravel path leading deeper into the forest. Finally, a house appears through the trees. Not a palace, but a large, sturdy stone house in a modern verse. A high fence, a gate with a code. Yang drives inside and parks. The house is surrounded by a well-kept garden. It's very quiet, only the birds singing. The door of the house opens. A woman appears on the threshold, about 60 years old, dressed simply, with a kind but tired face. Come in, dear, she says. They're waiting for you. My name is Irena. I'm a doctor. Jasmine freezes in the doorway. Doctor? Here? Mr. Chang Hyun asked me to examine you, Irena explains, as if reading her mind. After everything you've been through, it's necessary. Please. Jasmine allows herself to be led inside. The house is spacious and cozy. Lots of wood, soft lighting. It smells of herbal tea and cleanliness. Irena leads her into a small room on the first floor. There's a medical couch, an ultrasound machine, and a sterile cabinet with instruments. Everything you need. Please lie down. Relax. I'll do everything carefully. Jasmine complies. Irena's hands are experienced, her movements gentle. She measures her blood pressure, listens to her heart, and asks the usual questions about her well-being. Then she applies gel to Jasmine's stomach and turns on the ultrasound machine. A familiar image appears on the screen. Her baby. He's fine. He's moving. His heart is beating clearly and rhythmically. Jasmine can't hold back tears of relief. Irena wipes off the gel and helps her sit up. She looks at Jasmine not as a patient, but as a person in distress. "You're a strong girl," Irena says quietly. "And your baby is strong. He's holding up? Do you know what happened?" Jasmine asks. Irena sighs. She sits down on the chair next to him. "I know part of the story. I worked at Tranquility many years ago. I left. After that incident." Jasmine freezes. "After that patient died." Irena nods. Her face turns sad. "It was a young woman. Like you. She, too, wasn't from their circle. She, too, was causing inconvenience to an influential family. The incident wasn't accidental. There was deliberate negligence. Under pressure." "Soo-jung," Jasmine whispers. "She was part of it. Not the main one, but a facilitator. She was paid, or threatened. She always knew how to find powerful patrons and do the dirty work while keeping her coat clean. Then, and now, and you? Why didn't you tell me?" "I had no proof, just certainty. And they had the best lawyers, connections everywhere. I tried to talk. They strongly advised me to remain silent and to leave. Chang Hyun wasn't in charge then. The clinic belonged to other people. He bought it later and cleaned it up as best he could. But the shadows of the past sometimes return." She places her hand on Jasmine's. "You're not the first person they've tried to eliminate quietly and cleanly. Soo-young worked for people who are terrified of scandal. They want to maintain their facade at any cost, just like they did years ago. Your problem is that you crossed their path, and you're pregnant. That makes you both vulnerable and dangerous to them. Dangerous because you're living proof of their sin, and a living reminder of the past they buried." Jasmine listens, and the pieces of the puzzle finally come together to form a whole monstrous picture. Everything is becoming clear. Too clear. Jasmine's pregnancy. It wasn't part of David's flawless family's plans. She's a stain on their otherwise impeccable reputation. A girl from outside their circle, with a different skin color, an unplanned child. It could be a scandal. It could attract unwanted attention. And in their world, where only facade and control matter, that's unacceptable. At first, they tried a soft approach. They enrolled her in the Tranquility Clinic, a place where they controlled the situation, where Soo-jung, their old obedient tool, worked. Plan A. Soo-jung was supposed to kick her out, humiliate her, make her afraid, and leave voluntarily. Make Jasmine either give up the pregnancy or disappear from their lives, terrified and broken. But Plan A failed. Chan Hyun intervened. He protected her and started digging. And then they moved on to Plan B. Intimidation. A gift with a snake, surveillance, pressure through David. The goal was the same, to force her to make a choice. Leave, abort the pregnancy, disappear. To make it look like her own free will. Clean, neat, quiet. And if that doesn't work, then maybe something more direct. Like 5 years ago. An accident. David, his nighttime whispers. Plan B. He wasn't a victim or an unwitting participant. He was their agent in her life. He was supposed to control her, convince her, and if necessary, betray her. Jasmine feels not pain, but emptiness. A deep, cold emptiness where love and trust once were. They didn't want to kill her. They wanted to erase her. Like an unfortunate mistake, she spends 2 days in the house. Time passes slowly. She eats, sleeps, and walks around the guarded compound under Yong's supervision. Irena checks on her regularly. Jong Hyun doesn't show up, but he can be reached by phone. On the 3rd day, Yong enters the living room in the evening. His face is serious. A car pulled up to the gate. Mr. David is there. He is alone. He demands to see you. Jasmine feels her stomach clench. She goes to the window and pulls back the curtain. David stands at the main gate, behind the iron bars. He looks disheveled and unshaven. He's talking into the intercom. "What to do?" asks Yong. "I'll go out," Jasmine says. Her own voice sounds strange and firm. "Mr. Chang Hyun said not to let anyone in and not to let you out. I won't go outside the gate. I'll talk through the bars." She steps out onto the porch. The evening air is cool. She walks along the path to the gate. Between them are 10 meters and a sturdy metal grill. David sees her, his face contorted with relief and pleading. "Jasmine, thank God! Let me explain. It's not what you think." She stops 2 meters from the gate. Yong stands behind, at a distance, but alert. "Speak," she says. There is no anger or fear in her voice, only fatigue. "They forced me," he begins, gasping for air. "My family, They're pressuring me. They're afraid of a scandal. They said that if you don't have an abortion, then you'll end up like that woman. I should have convinced you. I should have talked you out of going to that clinic. I was trying to protect you. Protect me? By sending someone to follow me? By sending me a snake as a gift? By making a scene and throwing me out? Is this your protection? It wasn't me. It was them. My parents. My uncle. They were acting through their people. I couldn't do anything. But now I understand everything. I choose you. I'm leaving them. We can go away. Far away. Start over. Open the gates, please. Give me a chance. He speaks passionately, tears welling up in his eyes. He looks sincere, broken, loving. And at that moment, another car appears from the other side of the house. A dark sedan. Chan-hyun gets out. He approaches the gate, but on the wrong side. He stands next to Jasmine. He doesn't look at David. He's looking somewhere into the distance, at the road. Hyun says quietly, "There's another car parked over the hill, 300 meters away. There are two people there. They're watching." David sees Chan-hyun. His face is distorted with hatred. "You! You're the one who ruined everything. You dragged her into your games. Jasmine, he's dangerous. He wants to use you against my family. Don't listen to him." Chan-hyun finally turns his head to David, his gaze cold as a blade. "Your family, Mr. David, paid for silence about the death of an innocent woman 5 years ago. Now you're trying to buy or intimidate another one. History repeats itself. Only this time, I'm here." David ignores him. He looks only at Jasmine. His eyes are full of pleading. "Jasmine, I love you. I love our child. I'll break up with them. I'll do whatever you want. Just open the gate. Come out to me. We'll fix everything." Jasmine looks at him, at the man she loved, the man she trusted, and she sees more than just his despair. She sees his weakness. He would never turn against his family, not out of love for them. He's their pawn, and he's here to play one last role, to lure her into a trap. There are men waiting for him outside the gates. If she leaves, they'll take her away. And then, an accident, or voluntary departure. Chang-hyun turns to her, speaking so quietly that only she can hear. "The choice is yours, but if you walk out these gates, I won't be able to protect you. History will repeat itself. I mean that old article. Do you understand?" She understands. Leaving would mean signing a death warrant for herself and her child, under the guise of an accident or her voluntary disappearance. She looks at David, at his outstretched hands, at his face distorted with false hope, and she takes a step back, from the gate, from him, from her old life. "No, David," she says clearly, "I'm not leaving. And you leave. And tell your family, I'm not disappearing. I'll fight. And I have protection." David's face changes. The pleading disappears. A cold, furious anger takes its place, the same one she heard in his voice behind the closed door. "You'll regret this," he screams, grabbing the bars. "You and that Korean, you'll both regret this. You don't know who you're dealing with." He slams his fist against the metal. Then he steps back, gives them one last look of hatred, turns, and walks to his car. He drives away, turning heavily on the gravel. Chang-hyun doesn't move until David's car disappears around the corner, and then the observer's car follows suit. "They'll try again," he says, "but now they know you're protected. That changes the rules." Jasmine stands by the gate and looks out at the empty road. There, in the dust, are the tire tracks of his car. The wind is gradually sweeping them away. She feels a strange calm. There is no bitterness. There is only clarity. Her old life, her life with David, the life where she believed in love and a future, is over. It ended the very moment Nurse Soo-jung pushed her into the sterile hallway of the Tranquility Clinic. Everything that came after is merely confirmation of the end. She's no longer his fiancée, no longer part of his world. She's a threat to this world, and she must act accordingly. She turns and walks back toward the house. Young follows her at a respectful distance. Jang Hyun walks alongside. "What now?" she asks him. "Now it's your decision," he says. "You can stay here, safe, until the baby is born. Irina will help, Jong will guard, and I'll handle the legal side of things." "What legal aspect?" "I have no evidence. You have history repeating itself, and you have me. I have the resources to find evidence. Soo-jung's past bank accounts, Elton's lawyer's connections, security footage that someone might have saved. It's a long job, a dangerous one, but it can be done." "Why?" She stops and looks at him. Why are you helping me? What's in it for you? He looks at the house, at the garden, then back at her. 5 years ago, when that woman died, I couldn't help. The clinic wasn't mine. I was a different person, with different priorities. But that shadow fell on my name when I bought this place. I cleansed it of old sins, but one remains, unavenged. Your situation is a second chance, a chance to break this cycle, a chance to hold accountable those who think money and power give them the right to decide lives. Nine. He speaks without pathos, as if it were business. And besides, he adds, they broke my rules. In my place. On my land. You don't do that to me. I'm settling scores. They enter the house. Irina brings tea. They sit in the living room. Jung Hyun lays out a plan. This isn't an offer of help out of charity. It's an offer of alliance. He offers complete safety, here and then, if necessary, elsewhere. He offers the best medical care through Irina and her trusted colleagues. He offers legal support, lawyers who will launch a discreet investigation, build a dossier on David's family, their business, their connections, and also, if she wants, new documents, a new identity, for her and for the child, to start life afresh if the struggle proves too dangerous. It's your choice, he repeats. Fight or disappear, both paths are risky, but you're not alone now. Jasmine looks at her hands, then places them on her stomach. The baby moves, as if responding. I don't want to disappear, she says. I don't want them to win. I don't want what they did to that woman and what they tried to do to me to go unpunished. I will fight. She looks up at Jong Hyun. But I won't be a pawn in your game. I don't want revenge. I want justice and safety for my child. He nods respectfully. Justice is my revenge, and the child's safety is part of the deal. You are not a pawn. You are a partner in misfortune and in goals. They don't shake hands. They don't sign papers, but an agreement is made in the quiet of a safe house, protected by high fences. The next morning, Jasmine wakes early. The first rays of sun shine through the curtains. She gets up, throws on a robe, and goes out into the garden. The air is clean and fresh. It smells of earth and pine. She sits down on a bench and watches the sun rise over the treetops, painting the sky gold and pink. She places her hand on her stomach. New life flickers there, inside. A life they wanted to destroy. A life she will now protect not only as a mother, but also as a fighter. The fear hadn't disappeared. It was somewhere there, deep down, but it had been replaced by another feeling. Cold, pure determination. Like a strong steel rod inside her. She was no longer a victim. No longer a helpless girl in a clinic hallway. She has an ally, albeit a dangerous and ambiguous one. She has a safe haven. She has a purpose. She doesn't know what lies ahead. The struggle will be long and difficult. Against her are money, connections, and ruthless people. But now she is not alone. She looks at the sunrise, at the beginning of a new day, and a new path. Ahead lies the fight, but behind her lies no longer flight. She has turned to face the enemy, and she is ready. Her hand on her stomach gently caresses. Everything will be okay, she whispers. I promise. We can get through this. And for the first time in many days, something vaguely resembling a smile touches her lips. Not happiness, not peace, but a firm, unwavering will. A start has been made.